then by a bit of elementary skip tracing. That was Kurtz's part of it. "I tracked down a former high school football captain this morning in North Tonawanda," said Kurtz, to hand him a handwritten letter from his former cheerleader girlfriend. O'Toole looked up from her notes and removed her tortoiseshell glasses. "Did the football hero still look like a football hero?" she asked, showing only the faintest trace of a smile. "They were both from Kenmore West class of '61, said Kurtz. "The guy was fat, bald, and lived in a trailer that's seen better days. It had a Confederate flag hung on the side of it and a clapped-out '72 Camaro parked outside." O'Toole winced. "How about the cheerleader?" Kurtz shrugged. "If there was a photo, it was in the sealed letter, but I can guess." "Let's not," said O'Toole. She put her glasses back on and glanced back at her form. "How was the weddingbells.com business going?" "Slowly," said Kurtz. "Arlene has the whole internet thing set up. All the contacts and contracts with dressmakers, card makers, cake makers, musicians, churches, and reception halls set in place. And money's coming in, but I'm not sure how much. I really don't have much to do with that side of the business." "But you're an investor and co-owner," said the parole officer. There was no hint of sarcasm in her voice. "Sort of," said Kurtz. He knew that O'Toole had seen the articles of incorporation during a visit the parole officer had made to their new office in June. "I roll over some of my income from Sweetheart Search back into Wedding Bells and get a cut in return." Kurtz paused. He wondered how the felons and shackmeisters and Aryan Brotherhood boys in the exercise yard at Attica would react if they heard him say that. The D-Block Moss guys would probably drop the price on his head from $15,000 to $10,000, out of sheer contempt. O'Toole took off her glasses again. "I've been thinking of using Mrs. DeMarco's services." Kurtz had to blink at that. "For Wedding Bells? To set up all the details of a wedding online?" "Yes." 10% discount to personal acquaintances," said Kurtz. "I mean, you've met Arlene." "I know what you meant, Mr. Kurtz." O'Toole put her glasses back on. "You still have a room at, what is the hotel's name? Harbor Inn?" "Yes." Kurtz's old flophouse hotel, the Royal Delaware Arms near downtown, had been shut down in July by the city inspectors. Only the bar of the huge old building remained open, and the word was that the only customers there were the rats. Kurtz needed an address for the parole board, and the Harbor Inn served as one. He hadn't gotten around to telling O'Toole that the little hotel on the south side was actually boarded up and abandoned, or that he'd leased the entire building for less than the price of his room at the old Delaware Arms. "It's at the intersection of Ohio and Chicago streets?" "Right." "I'd like to drop by and just look at it next week, if you don't mind," said the parole officer, "just to verify your address." Shit, he thought. "Sure," he said. O'Toole sat back, and Kurtz thought that the short interview was over. The meetings had been getting more and more pro forma in recent months. He wondered if Officer O'Toole was becoming more laid back after the hot summer just passed, and with a pleasant autumn just winding down. The leaves on the only tree visible outside her window were a brilliant orange, but ready to blow off. "You seem to have recovered completely from your automobile accident last winter," said the parole officer. "I haven't seen even a hint of a limp the last few visits." "Yeah, pretty much full recovery," said Kurtz. His automobile accident, the previous February, had included being knifed, thrown out of a third-story window, and crashing through a plaster portico at the old Buffalo train station. But he hadn't seen any pressing need for the probation office to know the details. The cover story had been a pain for Kurtz, since he'd had to sell his perfectly good 12-year-old Volvo. He could hardly be seen driving around in the car he was supposed to have racked up on a lonely stretch of winter highway. And now he was driving a much older red Pinto. He missed the Volvo. "You grew up around Buffalo, didn't you, Mr. Kurtz?" He didn't react, but he felt the skin tighten on his face. O'Toole knew his personal history from the dossier in her desktop, and she'd never ventured into his pre-Attica history before. "What did I do?" He nodded. "I'm not asking professionally," said Peg O'Toole. "I just have a minor mystery, very minor, that I need solved, and I think I need someone who grew up here." "You didn't grow up here?" asked Kurtz. Most people who still lived in Buffalo had. "I was born here, but we moved away."